Johannes. Good to see you. Merry Christmas. Let's start with hopefully the last time we have to ask you about anything FA related, but obviously the news came through yesterday about Angus Gunn. You wanted clarity, and you've got clarity heading into this weekend, so you must be really
brilliant.
Happy.
Christmas has started.
But a major plus now that you know you can plan with him and that he is available.
Of course, and just the kind of clarification that we wanted and that we asked for, that at least we get the message a couple of days before, so we know what we're dealing with here. And that's we cannot affect the decision, but hopefully we can affect the when we get the message. So it's good. It's good for us.
And in terms of generally in your squad, how are you looking ahead into this game in a couple of days? Is there any sort of fresh injury concerns from the weekend?
No, of course the suspension. Otherwise, I think it's the same position that we are in. Also with the guys still being out with injuries, we still take a little bit more time for them to get back within the group. So I think we are the same place.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about them. I mean, Josh Sargent first and foremost. Where are we sort of with him?
It's a little bit too early with him. He's out there on the grass. He's not integrated with the team yet. So. Yeah, I think just like the plan. So after New Year's, probably loosen a bit too soon for him, but then the game after.
And what about Gabe Forsyth? Where is he sort of in terms of
a little bit of the same. He had, I think in one of the trainings last week, felt a little bit in his knee again. So it was not like they had to restart, but they had to maybe take him a week back. So I think probably also around New Year's and hopefully we can integrate him a little bit before, but I think we look at the same. And
with him, I don't think you've been asked about his new contract, but it's his second in quick succession. Is that a reflection of how well he's done to sort of break into that first team group?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And Liam Gibbs, I mean, where are we at with him? Is he still very much sort of on the pathway back?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, definitely. A handful of weeks, if not more. So it will take time.
Cool, excellent. One player I did want to ask you about was Forson. I mean, he's someone who sort of coming back from the international break had a few starts and seemed to sort of work well with Jack Stacey. We sort of haven't seen him since that Luton game. Is there sort of a reason as to maybe why you're thinking it's taken you away from him in that area?
Yeah, we tried him because I think, of course, he's an investment for us. He's new to the group, and also just to sometimes we need to play players in different positions to see where they're best, and we tried him on that right winger position together with Jack Stacey to see if that could just restart his time with us just a little bit. And I think he did okay without being outstanding. I think he had some good moments. I think he delivered some quality in the West Brom away game, but still struggling a little bit with the physicality in the league, still struggling a little bit with the intensity in the league, where you have to be aware for just more than one situation. So I think we evaluated those 3-4 games and decided to look at some of the other players. So it's just a decision about me selecting others.
And I guess that's the thing, isn't it? When you bring in young players, particularly, but from abroad, they can adapt at different times and different speeds and different.
And he will. So it's not like a matter of we just completely rule him out. He's a big part of the team, and for the moment, of course, we prioritize some of the others to play, but it's not like we don't prioritize him in all the hours before the kickoff and after the kickoff, because he's an important part of the group, and I think definitely still he will bring value to the team, and it's just about us to find that right position for him, and also for him to learn about the environment and the culture and the league especially, because it takes something special just to walk from the outside and then to step into this and be a factor for the team. So probably it will still take some time.
Has that been a situation where you've had to have lots of conversations with him? Because I can imagine when there is a player there who's maybe, as you say, struggling a little bit to adapt to it, then they probably need that support more than perhaps other players.
They do, and that's why we're here, and that's why we have many coaches involved, because it's not important. It's from me always. Sometimes it is important. It comes from me. Sometimes it's just important with evaluation and feedback and stuff like that from some of the other coaches, and that's why we are so many, and we talk about the players more or less on a daily basis. So we are sure that we get to them, and we are clear, and that they hear us and they know what we expect from them. That's the thing that matters.
In terms of last weekend, how do you reflect now with obviously a few days between that sort of Sunderland game and today? What sort of been your takeaways from how that all unfolded?
I think a very good first half. I think we did many good things. I think Our defensive structure looks better and looks more solid. We're not conceding many chances, and I think we were a threat on the counter. Would have liked us to create more chances, but still I think we had the game where we actually want to have that game. Difficult place to come. They have a great home record. They have the momentum at the moment, so not an easy way to go. But I think we did well in the first half, and then the second half was definitely not good enough. Probably affected by the early goal they scored, which also tells me where we are as a group, that we need to deal with those moments better. We need to handle those moments better, because that 20-minute block leading up to the red card was not good for us. I don't think it was a game on top level. I don't think there was many chances or many dangerous moments or situations, but I think I have big expectations on our behalf. And then of course the red card changes a lot, because also up to that, it's not like we're conceding chances. And I think again, we look solid defensively, but vulnerable defending set pieces at the moment, and that's a topic for us, unfortunately. But that's how it is. That's sometimes when you become good at something, there's other parts where you're not so good, and we face it and we deal with it. We spoke about it this morning, how to be better, what we can expect from each other, because it's too much at the moment, and I think it's close to 50% of the goals conceded within the last 2 blocks of games has been from set pieces, so that's too much, obviously.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you actually about the defence, because you look at the run of the last, I think, 12 games, you've conceded 2 in 10 of them, but actually in the last 3, even though you've conceded 2 and 3, I think the XG of the opponent has been under 1, so that sort of paints the picture that you're saying, that it's not necessarily the quality of chances that you're giving up.
No, and I think we use that term in Danish where we say it bites us in the ass. I don't know if I can say that here. I'm allowed to say that. But I think it's because if you look back at the Cardiff game, where we concede 2, or at least 1 in stoppage time, we lose that one home to Bristol. We play a game in Sheffield where we're not us. I think it's those games, because if you just look at the performance against Burnley, that was more than okay. If you look at the performance, especially first half in Sunderland, it was fine, and it was what we can expect. But the results are, especially because we lose both games, it seems a little bit bigger. But I think that's down to some of the other results we've had this season, because there is actually some okay moments in them. I think we were close to scoring that second goal against Burnley. I think it was a completely even game against Sunderland. So we just, of course, as a group, need to improve and deal with those difficult moments better. But I think maybe the atmosphere, or just the opinion after the games could have been a little bit different if we had other results. But the fact is that we don't. So that's why we see them very, very critical. And we have to do that, because we, in specific moments of the game, simply need to be better.
Yeah, and with set pieces, and obviously there's a structural element there. Is it about sort of a mentality point as well, and a resolve that this group needs to develop, and sort of a mental resilience, I guess, to deal with those type of situations better, and those sort of situations that you're talking about where maybe the game isn't going all their own way, just to survive those periods? Yeah,
I think it's especially those moments of the game, because we just highlighted again this morning that first half dealing with defensive set pieces, the structure was perfect, and we did exactly how we're supposed to do it. But then we can see the first situation we have to deal with in second half, we lose our structure. We're not exactly as we're supposed to be in that moment. And then of course dealing with the second ball, where we need to have more players in that area to deal with that one, so we don't have to deal with another cross coming inside the box. It's all those movements, starting with the structure that is not correct to begin with. And then of course dealing with second balls and staying in the game and being aware and anticipate where the ball can drop and stuff like that, where we have to improve. And we have to anticipate the danger as well, which we don't do well enough at the moment. So there's more things coming into it, but a little bit strange for us sometimes to see that we can have one corner kick where we are exactly how we're supposed to be, and then the next one we're a little bit out of structure, out of shape. So it tells me there's something about the concentration, the focus, but also dealing with the stuff that leads up to the situation, that leads up to the corner kick. What does it come from? Does it come from a situation where we are under pressure and dealing with a lot of other emotions? Or does it come a little bit out of nothing, so we have probably more energy and more confidence in that situation? So that's also something we look at. But we look at it from many angles and from many perspectives, because we have to be better. And it's our job to make sure that we become better.
with that concentration point, is that something that you feel you can coach? Because I think when people think about coaching externally, we think about it as, you know, the footballing elements and the tactical elements, and maybe sort of less the mentality and mental elements of a footballer. But is that something you can?
Everything
coach?
is coachable. I believe in that. I believe that's when you face the difficult moments in a game. If you have 2 to 3 things prepared beforehand, that you know, okay, we can always do this in the moments where we struggle a little bit. We can always choose this variation when we build up from goal kick, or we can do like this when we defend corner kicks, or whatever. If you prepare that, then hopefully you are in a better place when you have to deal with those moments. I think unprepared, you will suffer even more than what we do at the moment. So we can definitely prepare. Of course, a lot of it also comes down to experience and to do the same thing over and over and over again with the structure that we want to do it. And that can take time, but of course, like everything else in football and for us at the moment, it is finding that balance, because we don't have unlimited amount of hours just to accept that it's a learning process. We have to be better. We have to get better already from Thursday, because we play against another team that are quite okay in set pieces.
And that was going to be sort of my final question of this block, I guess, which is, you know, you mentioned the run of form. Everyone knows what the run of form is in terms of 2 wins in 13-14. How do you strike that balance? I guess that's what you're trying to find out at the moment. But is there something that you need to change in terms of your approach, or is it actually hoping that, or keep going with your approach in the hope that it sort of brings results in the end of it?
It is that balance, and it comes down to our decisions, and we need to be clever, because there's always this. Do we expect more than what players can do? Then we are unbalanced. Then we do or tell them to do something that they're not confident about. That they will never feel confident about. That would be wrong. So it's about finding, okay, how much can we push, and sometimes need to accept this is where we are, and then push a little bit. Maybe when we are in a better form than we are at the moment, then we can start pushing a little bit again. But at the moment, it tells me, okay, we have to not get back, because we're still developing. And I'm definitely a big believer that adversity tells you where you are as a group, and it gets you some good answers about players, about staff members, about club decisions, about everything. How do you deal with adversity? Because I think actually that's the first step to improve. So my opinion is that it's probably not that, or not only that's that poor that we have this moment, or we have that period that we're facing now, because it can be beneficial in a couple of weeks' time. So no, we look at all the possibilities and look at finding that right balance. So we don't expect too much in terms of what we can expect, but we're also not changing completely everything we do, because we've had these top moments. I think we did some really good things against Burnley. I think we did some really good things against Sunderland. But we have to find out why it is that we don't switch off, but too easily becomes a little bit nervous, taking wrong decisions, inviting the opposition in to dominate the game for no reason. So why is it we're taking those decisions? Can we do that in a different way? That's the important thing, and also the difficult thing to find out.
Yes, indeed. This game, this Boxing Day game, is game 23, halfway point in the season. So I mean, how do you reflect on everything that's happened? Because you've crammed a lot in, I think, on and off the pitch in those 23 games. So how do you reflect on where you are and on what's kind of happened?
It's been a long season so far. We started already summer, but we know when you're going to change something. And just to make it clear, I see football and I see culture in football the same way as so many other places. You start to, that the psychological environment is the first thing. That's the most important thing. How do you treat each other? How do you behave? How do you communicate with each other? How honest can you be? That's the first thing you need to start probably changing, or at least developing. That's a big block, because for some it can be completely different from what they've been told before. And from what they had tried before. And we started to change that already this summer. With all the good things about that, but also with all the things that is difficult about that. Then it comes into learning. So starting with that environment comes into learning. So based on that behavior, how honest can we be with each other? How open can we be with each other? How direct can we be with each other in situations? And that's still the 2 big blocks we have to develop and improve, because we are started, but there's still so much more to go, and still so much more to do for us. because we can see in the moments where we are suffering and we are not good, we become fragile. We go back to some of the old habits. We go back to, which is, I can understand why, but some of the players go back to what they maybe been taught when they were younger and when they were new in the football industry. But we have to not completely change it, but there's a lot of changes going on. So I accept where we are because I think it's natural. I would have hoped us to have more points than we have. I would have hoped that we have had our captain in Kenny available for more games. He's been out for close to 40% of the games, or 30-something%. I think that could have changed the picture a little bit. But I accept where we are because it's a big things that we are doing, down to the academy, down to how we teach the players out there, how we train on a daily basis, how we give them feedback. It's everything we are changing and looking at the moment. So that some players maybe feel that there's a lot of new information. That's definitely acceptable and understandable.
How much of a challenge has it been for you? Have you enjoyed it? Has it been sort of what you expected so far?
I enjoy it because I think it's a lovely place, and it's great people, and also because I can see that the players they feel a certain joy in this. You know, some of them came to us after the commentary game. I think it was game 4 or 5 of the season. And said, okay, this is really interesting to play this way. This is really, you know, I touched the ball more this game than I did for, you know, a couple of years of my football career. So a lot of them appreciate it, but I also think a lot of them, they find out that it's not that easy. But how do you deal with things that are not easy? Do you push it away and say, okay, it's not for me, or do you accept it and say, okay, this is a challenge, it's exciting, let me see what I can do? And that's the behavior and the mindset that I, together with the coaching staff and together with all the guys working here, we try to change, and we try to educate them in, and we try to create dilemmas and ask them, and you know, probably they also see that some of the team meetings are different to what they've tried before. But that's exciting. So I'll say 80% has been good, 20% has been not that good.
Final couple from me, but I mean, Millwall, you kind of touched on them a little bit. It feels like this is probably another challenge similar to what you had at QPR at Portsmouth. So I guess in a sense, you're probably quite interested to see how your team, given what we've spoken about today, deal with some of those challenges, and to see if that growth from even the last couple of weeks is there.
Yeah, really, really an interesting one. Just back to what I said, I hope all the players are up for a challenge, because this will be a challenge, and this will be a game where if we are not at our best, then it can be a game where it's on a fine line the whole game, and there'll be moments where they can make it a game with set pieces and duels and second balls, and they really fight, this team here. But hopefully we can also make it a game where we find our positions well enough, we give each other good passes, we are fast when we attack, we have a lot of good movements. If we find that balance, we can score goals, and we can be, you know, really, really exciting to watch. So, but we have to be defensive solid, we have to keep on working on the base that have been, even though the conceded goals have been working okay for us, we have to improve that and be better. But I think it comes down to how we manage the game on the ball. Can we find that good rhythm? Can we find the flow? Can we find the good movements in behind? Because that will decide the game for us.
Finally, what does that Christmas schedule look like over the next day or so? Yeah, I'm guessing you guys are all in tomorrow.
Yeah. Of course we are. That's how it is when you're in football. Then you get to celebrate Christmas with teammates and with coaching staff members, and that's if you don't enjoy that, then you have enough answers. That's how it is. Of course, we try to make the schedule so players, they can come home and eat dinner with families and so on. That's of course also important in this time of year. But it's something special, and I think, you know, football is about habits, but sometimes you need to break down habits to start building some new habits. And that's what we try to do in many ways. So it's interesting, but we try to find that balance in everything we do. And I hope you guys do the same. And I hope you were as critical as you could be today. So if you have more questions, then please open, because I think what I try to do here is to give a clarity on what we do and what we work on and how we want to improve and how we want to go forward. So you also have that obligation down there to make sure that you raise all the critical questions. And the psychological part I just mentioned, it's also in this room. It's also here when we talk to each other. And it's also established, hopefully here, there's a respect for each other, so you can be critical. I'll not call you something not good when I walk outside the room.
Many people do, so I'm worried.
But if you've been critical in here, that's fine. We have to open up that door, and we have to ask those questions. And if you feel something is coming from fans or reporters or journalists and they cannot believe why this is going on, or why do we do this, and why don't we change this, and then please ask the questions, because I think that's where we are, and that's where we want to be as a football club. So if you have more questions, then you can also come back to me after.
Thanks, Johannes. I'll let some other guys.
And Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and a Merry Christmas to you as well.
Could I ask a very quick question? Hello, I haven't met you before. I'm Natalie from ITV Anglia.
Hi.
It's a very girly question. We're all looking forward to Christmas with our families tomorrow. Can you go into a little bit more detail about what Christmas looks like for you and your team tomorrow?
Yeah. For me, I wake up tomorrow morning at 6:30. I have a cup of coffee. I drive out here. I meet with the staff members. We go through all the stuff we need to go through with Millwall and us. Then we meet with the players. Then we have breakfast. Then we meet with the players at 8:45. Then we have a long team meeting presenting Millwall and our approach to that, and how we build the game, especially on the ball, and how we create chances. Then we go out there and train. And then after the training, there will be some meetings in units and some individual stuff, and more preparation leading into the game. So everything is prepared when we meet each other again on Thursday. And then I think somewhere in the afternoon, we go home to our families, and some do it a little bit earlier if they don't have anything to do. And for some, we need to prepare the rest of it. So I've planned for having dessert tomorrow.
Is it tough, Christmas Day being a working day? It must be tough for some of your young players who are used to mum's cooking.
Yeah, but I think if you enjoy what you do, and I really, really hope that most football players, they enjoy what they do, because they should do. It's a fantastic job. And it's the same being a football coach. If you enjoy what you do, you don't really think about that. I think when I come home tonight, because in Denmark we celebrate Christmas tonight, and we have the dinner tonight, the families back home, they already started. They are going, they are enjoying, they're celebrating, they are having lunch, and later they will have dinner. And I just join whenever I have the time to join. It's not, I don't have to be the center of attention. I just like that they celebrate and they enjoy the night together or the evening together. Then I will be there when I have time, and then I'll try to enjoy and try not to think too much about Millwall when I have to remember myself that the reason why I was here is because of Jesus. So that's a mix of thoughts and feelings and balance and stuff like that. But that's life as it is. It is about balance, and you have to accept when you choose a certain direction, you also choose not to go that direction. But everything you do, you have to enjoy, or at least try to. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie.